AIPAC is under fire now after reporters are starting to call out its shady practices. For once now, the Israel lobby doesn't have full sway and control without people actually calling out all of the corruption it's doing. So take a look at this here. This started earlier today, and there's this clash between AIPAC and Ryan Grimm. He's a reporter of Drop Site News. He's also on Breaking Points pretty often. And AIPAC went ahead on social media and posted part of an orchestrated campaign to single out and demonize individual pro-Israel Americans for supporting candidates of their choice, a level of scrutiny not applied to any other group of citizens, and it's tolerated and celebrated by leaders who claim to want a big tent. It's pretty interesting, right? So then, of course, Ryan Grimm ends up commenting on that, and he says, AIPAC complaining of a level of scrutiny not being applied to any group of citizens. Let's be precise. No other interest group, not crypto, not AI, not big oil, etc., hides its money in shell packs. They all spend through packs that are transparently linked their interest group. AIPAC and its major donors are alone in the opposite practice. So that is why reporters have to investigate it, so that reporters can know how they are backing. The other option would be to just be honest and transparent about the jump. Why not do that? According to AIPAC, being pro-Israel is good policy and good politics. Their offshoot, Democratic Majority for Israel, even claims that there is a Democratic majority for Israel. If that is true, spend money openly, endorse candidates openly, and let voters decide. If you refuse to do that, we will keep following the money and letting people know who you support. If it's true that being pro-Israel is good politics, we're doing you a favor. Now, this set them off. And, for those who don't know about AIPAC's history, which I genuinely, I love to bring this up a lot. I'm going to go ahead and actually share my full screen here and pull up the documents so that way you guys can see this. Let me go ahead and share my full screen. There we go. AIPAC was fighting, or AIPAC's predecessor was fighting with the Department of Justice under John F. Kennedy's administration to register as a foreign agent. This is pretty well known now. I think if you're watching my videos and you follow my channel, then you probably know that fact by now. So here's the israellobby.org, and it's always nice to go through this because the more, every single time AIPAC is spewing something on social media, I'm just waiting for the day one politician, just one politician, maybe one candidate can just go ahead and show these documents. I don't understand why they don't do that because I just want to see how AIPAC responds to being called out about this. Here's all the documents, and there's tons of them. When the Department of Justice was ordering the American Zionist Council, AIPAC's predecessor, to register as a foreign agent, and they refuse. And it goes back, tons and tons of documents all the way up to when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. And it says here, it started on October 31st of 1962. Assistant Attorney General and Director of the Internal Security Division notifies Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy. We are soliciting next week the registration of the American Zionist Council under Foreign Agents Registration Act. You may be aware that the American... here it is. And this is the actual official document that was sent to Robert F. Kennedy. And in an amendment to a supplemental registration filed from the American section of the Jewish Agency for Israel for the period ending on March 31st, 1962, it was reported that the council received over $32,000 in subventions and over $11,000 as a special grant from the American section of the Jewish Agency for Israel. Under the act, the receipt of such funds from the Jewish agency constitutes the council an agent for a foreign principal, as that term is defined in Section 1C. The stated purpose for which the funds were received makes unavailable any exemption from registration. Unavailable any exemption from registration. Consequently, it would appear that the council's registration is required. And, it's pretty obvious. You may be aware that the American Zionist Council is composed of representatives of the various Zionist organizations in the United States, including the Zionist Organization of America. And that set off this ended up leading to basically a war with John F. Kennedy's administration, going back and forth, fighting to register as a foreign agent. It went through the Department of Justice 7 times, and they refuse. The last time, they were given 72 hours, and I think this is the letter that really shocked, this is the one that really did it for me. This is on October 11th of 1963. October 11th of 1963, and I'll just go to the ending here. Registration is accomplished by filing a registration statement and supported by the appropriate exhibits. In accordance with our conference, the department expects a response from you within 72 hours with regard to this matter. And they didn't end up doing, they just simply didn't do it. They responded back actually again on December 11th of 1963, so after John F. Kennedy is assassinated, and that's when they decide to respond back, and basically they say, we're not ready. Our client is not prepared to register as an agent of a foreign principal or to concede that it is a subject to the registration requirement. It has, however, no reluctance to make this information available voluntarily and in response to the expressed desire. Basically, after John F. Kennedy is assassinated, under the new president, Lyndon B. Johnson, the pressure was dropped so quickly, and they just went back and forth. It ended up just being formalities, really, under Lyndon B. Johnson, and they obviously didn't end up registering. I highly suggest you guys just go through all the documents. The more you go through it, the more you're actually going to want to pull your hair out a little bit. So now, fast forward to today. And again, we're back now where AIPAC basically bought out all of our politicians, and this is the world that we now live in, where we're hearing about mysterious pro-Israel linked groups spending $5.3 million to boost Haley Stevens. Haley Stevens, who is running now for office in Michigan. And she's the one where I showed you guys a video of her 2 days ago where she was actually so aggravated and angry at the fact that she's being called out about her AIPAC funds. Like, she looked like she wanted to just, she looked like she was losing it. She looked like she was losing it over her obsession with Israel, and the fact that people were calling it out. So there's just more articles here going back and forth. They responded back to Ryan Grimm. And they stated, are we unique or are you uniquely obsessed with us? Compare how many posts Ryan Grimm has written about AIPAC versus stories about how far-left groups like Justice Democrats and working families rely on billionaires, dark money transfers, or contributions from C4s. Here's the thing. AIPAC, please let me know when another lobby works for a foreign government in this way, not registered with FARA, that is just truly buying out our politicians. And it would be just one thing if it's just buying out our politicians, but also sending us into war. Sending us into war. I think that's what sets me off more than anything. The trillions of dollars in debt that we're in debt because we fought the war on terror, which was Israel's war on terror. And that terror was terror to Israel. All of it was due to Israel. The terror that it exported from the Middle East to the United States was because of unrelenting support for Israel. It's all because of Israel. And then people complain that, why is our national debt so high? Why are we struggling here in America? It's because we're backing, not are we just backing a state, we are that state. We are Israel in all respects in that way. We fight Israel's war. We do everything. And I'm going to make another video in a little bit here, I think the video after this one, about what you guys probably already heard today, that now they're pushing forward new legislation to basically intertwine the United States and the IDF even more, the U.S. military and the IDF even more than we already are, even more than how we already are, to the point now where it looks like you can't tell the difference between the two. So let's see what else here. Imagine being an editor at a mainstream news outlet and having a reporter constantly push unsourced conspiracy theories. Like AIPAC is funding the Center for Democratic Priorities because he's obsessed with one group of Americans. It's wonderful because up until now, guys, and this is also something that's important to note. Basically, up until now, and we also have, of course, AIPAC Tracker. There has never been a time up until the last 2023 where AIPAC was actually finally put on the defense. All the way up until 2023, AIPAC was always on the offense. If somebody talked negatively about Israel, if somebody did anything, a politician to slightly oppose Israel, they were considered an anti-Semite. I feel, I wish that James Traficant was alive today, because he would have, I think he would have loved to see the political climate we're in now, where the group that really was largely the cause of him being put in prison, he said it himself. He said, I was put in prison by the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. is now finally being put on the defense after destroying his life, destroying so many other politicians' lives that simply don't support Israel, or that simply wanted to treat Israel, is a better way to put it, to treat Israel as an equal country to every other Middle Eastern country, and a country that we're not going to fight their wars for. It's truly a hostile invasion, guys. I don't say that lightly when I say, what other country is doing this? Is Germany doing this? Is Australia doing this? Is New Zealand doing this? And which one of these countries is pushing us to fight their wars? Are any of them pushing us to fight their wars? And while they just take our aid and they just destroy us, and then on top of after they do all of that, they have, the gall to say that it's a special relationship. No, it's a special relationship because it's the only parasitic one. That's why it's special, because it's parasitic. And there's nothing else like it, as Donald Trump would say. There's nothing else like it. It's because it's parasitic. So that's what I have to say to that. Hope you guys found this video interesting. If you did, definitely go ahead and please leave a reply in the comments below. And also, if you haven't yet, make sure to click the alarm bell button so you can keep getting my notifications whenever I make more videos. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care and have a great day. Bye, everybody.